So I have this old book, field book of Western wildflowers. I started reading it once a little while back. I'm just gonna carry on with it. It's in the lily family. It has these little drawings in it. So this one says poison sago, Zygadenes, paniculatus, cream white, spring, summer, Utah, Nevada, Idaho. So I guess that's just where you find them. It says there are several kinds of Zygadene, natives of North America and Siberia. They mostly have coated bulbs resembling onions and white or greenish flowers in clusters. The leaves long, smooth, folded lengthwise, and springing mostly from the root. The flowers are perfect or polygamous, the 6 divisions alike, with 1 or 2 greenish glandular spots at the base of each. The style is 3 distinct. The fruit a 3-lobed capsule with several or many seeds in each compartment. The name is from the Greek for yolk and gland, because some kinds have a couple of glands on each division of the flower. A handsome, rather stout plant, about a foot tall, with bright light green, smooth, graceful leaves sheathing the stem, which has a papery bract around its base. The flowers are in clusters varying in shape, sometimes growing in long, loose raceme, and sometimes in a closer, pointed cluster. The divisions of the rather small cream white flowers have short claws with a yellow gland and stamen at the base of each. The stamens are conspicuous, with swinging yellow, shield-shaped anthers, and are at first longer than the 3 styles, which gradually lengthen and together with the stamens give a delicate feathery appearance to the whole flower cluster. This grows on dry hillside and in meadows. The bulb is very poisonous. So I guess that's why it's called poison sago. Wait, hold on, when is this? Yeah. So this book is from 1915. So it's poison sago in the lily family. And still lily family. Here it says Zygadene, death Camas, Zygadenes venenosus. So there's the Zygadene, star Zygadene, and then death Camas. I like the little flower shape. So Zygadene is white, summer, US. So I guess those are white flowers. Star Zygadene, also white, and they're in the spring and summer, found in California. And death Camas, white, they're found in spring. They're in Washington, Oregon, and California. A handsome, graceful plant with 1 or more stiff stems from 6 inches to 3 feet tall, springing from a large clump of rather stiff bluish-green leaves, covered with a pale bloom, and bearing fine clusters of cream-white flowers, less than an inch across. The divisions united below and adhering to the base of the ovary, and each with a sticky, bright green, heart-shaped gland. This grows in moist places in the mountains across the continent. Much like the last, but the foliage with less bloom, and the flowers handsomer and rather larger. Their divisions are free from the ovary. Only the inner divisions have claws, and the glands are greenish-yellow and toothed. This grows among bushes, on hillsides, and sea cliffs along the coast. Not nearly so handsome as the 2 last, but a pretty plant, from 1 to 2 feet tall, with dull green leaves, folded lengthwise with rough edges. The cream-colored flowers are less than half an inch across, striped with green on the outside, their divisions free from the ovary, and all with claws, with roundish, greenish-yellow glands, not toothed, and with long stamens. This grows in meadows, and the bulb is very poisonous except to hogs, so it is often called the hog's potato. There are several kinds of Veratrum, natives of the north temperate zone, tall perennial herbs with thick, short, poisonous rootstocks, stems tall and leafy, more or less hairy, leaves broad, bladed, with conspicuous veins, flowers more or less downy, polygamous, whitish or greenish in a cluster, their 6 separate divisions, colored alike, adhering to the base of the ovary, without glands or nearly so, and without claws, stamens opposite the divisions, with heart-shaped anthers, styles 3, capsules 3-lobed, with several flat, broadly winged seeds in each compartment. Veratrum is the ancient name for a hellebore. So it's these. It's a little different from the last one. Look, this one has like tiny flowers and one big cluster. And then these two are kind of like just individual flowers. So, and some more of the lily family. This is false hellebore. They're greenish white, found in the spring, and just says west. So I guess all over the west coast. Reed lily, which is white, found in the summer in Oregon, California, and Nevada. Which looks like this. That's the false hellebore, and then the reed lily on the right. So this one looks a little bit bigger. This one, the flowers are smaller. The leaves of this plant are its conspicuous feature. A few near the top are long and narrow, but most of them are boat-shaped, with heavy ribs, and from 6 to 12 inches long. They are bright yellowish green, and although somewhat coarse, the general effect is distinctly handsome, as we see masses of them growing luxuriantly in rich, moist meadows and marshes in the mountains. When they first come up in the spring, their shoots are packed into green rosettes, in which the leaves are intricately folded, but they soon grow to a height of 3 to 6 feet. The flowers are beautiful in fine contrast to the coarse foliage. They measure about half an inch across and are cream white, streaked with green, and form a fine cluster about a foot long. The flowers are far prettier and the plants handsomer than their eastern relations, and they flourish at an altitude of 6,000 to 9,000 feet. The plants are supposed to be poisonous to cattle, but in a recent bulletin of the Agricultural Experiment Station of the state of Washington, it is reported as being a popular food with horses and sheep, particularly the latter, which eat it greedily without ill effects. There are several kinds of Hestingsia, perennials with bulbs or rootstocks, the stamens on the base of the perianth with swinging anthers, the ovary with a very short stalk and short style. An attractive marsh plant with a smooth, stiff, bluish stem, over 3 feet tall, springing from a cluster of long, narrow, sword-like leaves. The slightly sweet-scented flowers are white and about half an inch across, forming a long, graceful, fuzzy wand of bloom, which has a pretty silvery effect and looks interesting at a distance, but it is not very striking close by, as the flowers are too colorless. The seeds are black and shiny. It's very pretty. I like the drawings. Just a simple black sketch. I'm gonna get some tea. This book is very old and it's dusty. Try not to sneeze. I'll read one more flower. Soap plant. Lily family. Oh, there's some writing. Something about the lily family. Something. I can't read the second word and the fourth word. It says the lily family. So a mole, soap plant, silvery white, found in the summer in California. That's just this one soap plant. Looks like there's bigger flowers at the bottom. They're kind of tiny on the top. There are several kinds of chlorogallum. This odd plant springs from a big bulb, which is covered with coarse brown fiber, and often shows above the ground. The leaves are sometimes over 2 feet long, with rippled margins. Look like very coarse grass, and usually spread out flat on the ground. The plants are conspicuous and look interesting, and we wonder what sort of flower is to come from them. And someday, in late summer, we find that a rather ugly branching stalk, 4 or 5 feet tall, has shot up from the center of the tuft of leaves. The branches are covered with bluish-green buds, and we watch with interest for the bloom, but we may easily miss it, for the flowers are very short-lived and come out only for a little while in the afternoons. In the lowlands, the flowers are rather scattered and straggling, but in Yosemite they are lovely close by. Each flower is an inch or more across and looks like an airy little lily, with 6 spreading divisions, white, delicately veined with dull blue, and they are clustered along the branches toward the top of the stalk and bloom in successive bunches, beginning at the bottom. When they commence to bloom, the tips of the petals remain caught together until the last minute, when suddenly they let go and spring apart, and all at once the dull stalk, like Aaron's rod, is adorned with several delicate clusters of feathery silver flowers. The thread-like style is slightly 3-cleft at the tip, and the capsule has 1 or 2 blackish seeds in each cell. The bulbs form a lather in water, and are used as a substitute for soap by the Indians and Spanish Californians, and as food by the Pomo Indians, who cook them in great pits in the ground. Pomeridianum means in the afternoon. That's the soap plant. Maybe I'll read one more. Wild onions. Allium biceptrum, Allium serratum. Looks like a big round cluster on the tops. Still the lily family. Pink wild onion, which is pink, found in spring and summer in the northwest. Then wild onion is pink and white, found in the spring in Utah, Nevada, and California. Wild onions are easily recognized by their characteristic taste and odors. They mostly have coated bulbs. Their leaves are long and narrow from the base. The flower stalk bears a roundish, bracketed cluster of rather small white, pink, or magenta flowers on slender pedicels. There are 6 divisions nearly alike, and each with a stamen attached to its base. The bracts enclose the buds before blooming in a case, and the capsule contains 6 black wrinkled seeds. These are numerous kinds, very widely distributed, not easily distinguished, some resembling Brodea, and the latter never smell of onion. Allium is the Latin for garlic. From 4 to 10 inches high, with a few leaves before blooming, the flower cluster is enveloped in 2 papery bracts, forming a beautiful pink and white iridescent case, the shape of a turnip, at the tip of the stalk. Later these bracts split apart and disclose a cluster of pretty flowers, usually very deep pink in color, the divisions each with a darker line on the outside. The anther is pale yellow. This is very gay and attractive, often growing in patches on dry hillsides and fields. The flowers last a long time in the winter, gradually becoming paler in color and papery in texture. The bulb is marked with veins, 6 to 10 inches tall, with 2 slightly thickish leaves and usually 2 slender flower stalks, each bearing a graceful cluster of starry white, pink or pinkish purple flowers, each petal delicately striped with pinkish brown. The anthers pink and the ovary green, with 3 tiny double crests. These flowers are exceedingly delicate and pretty, growing among rocks and shady canyons. The bulb is usually red-coated. The flower cluster of Allium serratum is much more compact than the last, and the pink flowers change to deep purplish pink as they fade, making a pretty round papery head about 1.5 inches across, common on low hills in California. These ones, I like that they're pink. I like pink. So I might stop there and then just continue with this one in the next video that I read from this book. So let me just put the bookmark there. And yeah, so that was from Field Book of Western Wildflowers. Thanks for watching my video. Hope it helped you fall asleep.